The following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
Thank you, Tally Olson. We are back talking Mets baseball in the zone. I'm Ralph Tyko. The two Met mavens are here. Robert Cole, how are you?
Doing good, Ralph.
Good. And Marty Rose.
Yes, doing very well. Thank you, Ralph.
Good. I wanted to pass on our best wishes to Marty's brother, Mert, who was a guest on this show last week. Having
Barn.
some...
Yes, Barn.
Barn.
Yes.
What did I say, Barn?
You said Mert.
Mert. And, hey, it's, I've only had 60 years to adjust to you guys. 65 years, actually.
Yeah.
You would think, listen to this, IL72647.
I don't know how do you remember that? That's my original phone number from when I was a kid. I mean, and he remembers it. Jeez.
Hey, Ralph, what did you have for dinner tonight?
What did I have? Wow, that's a good one.
Well, maybe too early for Ralph in California.
Well, actually, here was my dinner. Some brownies. How about that? Some of the strongest brownies grown in the Tikkachinsky legal grow, indoor grow in California. And it's, they're delightful, by the way. And I have to give Tally credit for not only preparing the brownies, but she's basically the engineer of the grow. Indoor
nice.
Growing is very, very complicated, more so than I would have thought. And she's graduated from Oaksterdam University in Oakland. It is the premier educational facility for cannabis in the country. They teach you everything. And she was literally, what do they call it, Phi Beta Kappa or whatever the hell it was.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
If she wanted to sell stuff, does she need a license to do that? It's sold in dispensaries and what have Only?
you.
Oh, okay.
Only,
okay.
legally. And our legal, one can grow legally for their own personal stash. You can't sell consumption. You can only grow 6 plants at a time.
Huh.
And I say only because the laws are so skewed.
Mm-hmm.
One can produce a lot of weed in a plant.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do that 3 or 4 times a year, growing indoors.
Nice. Hey, how's the air out there by you?
The air today was the first semi-clear day. As a matter of fact, I saw the sun
for
the first time in 2 weeks.
Jeez.
Today. Doesn't mean the fires are anywhere close to being contained, but
the wind must have
maybe
changed
the wind,
direction.
The wind, that's it. And I think they're getting a handle on the perimeters of it and what have you. But I know we're in good shape because the president visited California today, and he assured us that everything would be fine.
Oh,
just have to rake the forest. And it'll be okay.
Those trees, they fall down, and you give them 18 months, and then they dry
18
out.
Months, right.
Did
you
water
hear
going
that?
through them, and they explode just like a match.
We got the scientific explanation on CNN from the man today, which I well appreciated because it's really the only laugh you have. We laugh and we cry at the same time.
Yeah.
He didn't know anything about it, yet he told, and what his motive was to tell Woodward that stuff, to give an interview with I can't understand. Is he just saying to the world, screw it, I'm taking over?
Unbelievable. Yeah.
He thinks he's smarter, okay, than anybody else. And Woodward has done books on a lot of presidents and really gave him the business. And he thought he could charm Woodward into writing a book that would be flattering to him.
It wasn't the book so much and the writing of the book and what he said, is that he said it on tape. And it was so distinct and so no question what he meant. And then a month later, he goes out and lies to the country, and people still don't care. Did his ratings go up or down or sideways? If anything, they're better. The most outrageous thing, what's he going to do next? And it doesn't seem to hurt him.
No.
I mean, you talk about the Teflon Don.
Yeah.
And
really,
everything wears off. 190,000 people dead. Do you remember the stink they made in who was covering up the 911 thing? Was there a cover-up? Was there?
Yeah.
And that was 5,000 people, and that was total in all of it.
Yeah.
We've lost more humans to this man's negligence than they totaled it up. Korea, Vietnam, my mother's cooking. It just, where is the stop and what is the bottom? Al Blumkin and Talley both said it months ago. The man has no bottom.
Yeah.
And but on the good news today, I'll let Marty Rose announce it.
Yes. Well, the official sale of the New York Mets to Steve Cohen has happened. Signed, sealed, and delivered. And he formerly owned 8% of the team, and now he is the majority owner after coming to terms with the Wilpons and Mr. Katz. So now we just need 23 of the remaining 29 owners to approve the sale at their meeting in November.
Now, I read this a little while before going on air on the fine Facebook group, New York Met Group, that's administrated by Robert Cole. And he happens to be here, too. And we talked a little bit off the air. There are some reservations in your mind, Robert. I know you're not a Debbie Downer by any stretch, but you're conservative along these lines, as well you should be. What are your concerns?
Okay. Here's my concerns, okay? Katz negotiated with the Wilpons before. Had a supposed deal signed, sealed, and delivered, and then that fell through. That brought up a lot of concern from some of the other owners publicly. In fact, it was said by some that was it. He would never get another chance. The Wilpons then decided recently to go do an auction. Now, we know what an auction is. An auction is you get bids, you solicit bids, and the top bid generally gets taken. Well, the final bids were due to be in on September 30th. On September 28th, the Wilpons withdrew the auction and gave Steve Cohen exclusivity to negotiate a deal. Okay? Now, again, there were some reservations by owners after the first deal went through. He has baggage. Okay, he paid a big fine to the SEC over stock and bond manipulations several years back. I mean, a big fine. something where around $1 billion with a B dollars.
Whoa. Whoa.
And he also, currently, his companies have a sexual discrimination suit against them. Now, again, the Wilpons did this deal, I believe, so they could retain some sort of a position in the team, which they have, I believe 7 or 8%. An auction would have meant they would have been out completely. So they did this renegotiation again. I personally am not sure that you will get 23 owners to agree to this. And then the other added ingredient into this is that Jennifer Lopez and Alex Rodriguez renewed their bid so that if it gets turned down, by the owners, that they would be in a position to complete the deal. And they restructured it so that J-Lo is now the contact person. They took Alex out of it, and she's fronting the organization. And they've acquired more money, including one of the big wigs in Walmart, to match anything that Steve Cohen made as a bid. So there's another bid there should the owners turn down Cohen's bid. So to me, it's not cut and dry, simple. It's going to be done. All they have to do is vote. I won't be sure until it's done. So to say
why did Wilpon stop the auction?
Because they wanted to renegotiate. Okay, and so they renegotiated a price, and they wanted a piece of the team.
Yeah, they kept 5%.
They kept 5%.
Yeah.
Okay, and no, that doesn't change much of anything. But why do they need to be part of it? I mean, as fans, we all expected it to be nice and clean. They'd be gone, they'd be done, but they didn't want the auction to go through, because that would have meant they would have been out of it. It would have been an auction price. The price would have been accepted.
I get you. Well, maybe it's just pride. The 5% is, we're still a part of it. Maybe they were offered some sort of consultation or deal. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I agree with all that, but it just, from the first go-round with them, and everything was supposedly signed, sealed, and delivered, and then, Cohen and the Wilpons were both trying to change, the final numbers and stuff, and it fell through. Until it's actually voted on and it is a done deal, I'm not comfortable with it.
Yeah, that's, I understand that too. It's like, the election's coming up, and you got to figure and hope that everything is going to be all right by common sense. But till I see it, I won't rest easy. And this is along the same lines.
Right. I mean, we were all, all happy and giddy that the first deal went through, and then all of a sudden it didn't. So,
yeah.
So I have reservations.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I just have reservations, that's all.
Okay. Can you guys both refresh my memory a little bit and give me a lesson as to the parting of the ways between Doubleday and Wilpon? It started out as such a great marriage. And start with you, Marty, your recollection of just what comes to mind.
I don't remember that much about it, Ralph, to tell you the truth.
Okay.
Maybe Robert knows better than I do.
I just remember there being some animosity. The Wilpons wanted to be, the Doubleday was more or less the person. In Major League Baseball, you can only have one point person, and Doubleday was that point person that you talk to. And the Wilpons wanted to be that person, and it started to be animosity. And Doubleday just decided to, sell his share and get out.
Yeah. Okay. And but it didn't seem to go well between them. And I really don't remember the circumstances.
Yeah, there was some animosity. The original, seemed like a match made in heaven. You had a lot of money, between the two groups, and seemed like it was going to be a good thing. And then, for whatever reason, it was not a love match.
Yeah. I remember going to Shea Stadium when I was home on leave once, or even after the service. I think it must have been after 76 or something like that. And they just took over, and I remember seeing him Doubleday walking down a ramp. And I said, "Take good care of my team."
Was I with you, Ralph? Was I with you? When we saw him? I could have sworn I was.
Yes. Now that you say you was, because we saw him, and remember we just kind of waved, and he was walking down a ramp.
Good luck with the team. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Wow.
I know you said something to him. I remember that. Yeah, definitely. Where the heck it was, I don't remember, but.
Well, I'll bring back some memories in my book. I have a chapter. There's a chapter in my book. It was 1981. Does that year sound familiar at all?
Yes.
Yes, you were getting married. You were getting married.
This is true.
And I came back to New York, and Lenny and I were both invited to the wedding. Lenny Rosenblum.
Right.
We both found out for sure what we'd suspected for a long time. Lenny Rosenblum, our childhood friend, really, good bud of ours back in the day, passed away about 2 years ago. It was confirmed this week. And a lot of memories with Lenny, the ultimate Giant fan. Will you agree?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, indeed.
It was unbelievable. Lenny and I were very close in the 70s. Before I got married, after the Air Force.
And I later in the 80s when he came out to California.
Right.
As well as our youth. I mean, he moved to Northridge, to Jackson Heights. I think he was 13 years old.
Southridge, he was.
Southridge, right. And, so a lot of good memories, and a very, very interesting person on a lot of different levels.
Yeah.
So he'll be missed, but the chapter is in my book will be, and it's in 1981. I had started a communication with Cy Berger with Topps. He was the guy, and I had applied for a position as the West Coast rep, which means that I would be going around to the two major minor leagues on the West Coast. The Northwest League, which was an entry-level league, a short A position, where the majority of players come in. Obviously, they're unsigned to Topps contracts, and it would be my job to have them pay for my travel up and down California and Oregon and Washington, and pay my per diem, and I hang signing players the baseball cards and talking to their managers and coaches who were my boyhood heroes. So it wasn't that bad bad a job, but I didn't get it yet in 1981. I had to go to meet Seiberger at the baseball meetings in Florida. And they were scheduled right after Mert's wedding. So I'm not a flyer, God knows, but somehow got to New York. Don't even remember how. I think it was the train. You and I, Mert, and the Bear went to a game we saw St. John's in their heyday.
Yeah.
With Mullins, 2 or 3 other guys that were great. One was the big guy from Canada, was the center back then. His name, right?
Yeah.
And we went out to Wennington, right? Was it Wennington?
Exactly. Yes.
And they also had another player, guard, a black guy who was terrific. They were a super team. We went to see them play, and the Bear and I arranged to get one of these old ladies that needed her car. Not specifically. There was an agency that we drive her car down to Florida and have use of her car for 5 or 6 days because so we get this big Cadillac going, arranged to go to Florida right after the wedding. And now get this, how fate interferes with everything and makes for a great story. My brother, in the time that I was in New York, if you remember, it was November, but it was frigid cold. And my brothers, I had no socks. So and my brother's mother-in-law tragically passes away. And the next thing I know, I'm at the viewing for his mother-in-law, and I have no socks. So it started, hey, everybody didn't appreciate that, or I just had no socks, or whatever it was. Wasn't going too well until after the unveiling, they realized that everyone was going to sit shiva. And Robert, what that is you rent a very hard bench from the synagogue, and for 7 days or 10 days, everybody that comes in to visit just sits on this hard bench to remember the person who passed away. And his in-laws ran a photography store in Brooklyn, and they made a deal. This is well before the tragic passing. They made a deal with the McDonald's that they'd take pictures of people, of kids with Santa Claus and what have you. And Bruce, my brother, was supposed to be Santa Claus. And they saw me at the unveiling, and they said, "Oh, he can't be Santa Claus. He's going to be sitting shiva," which was something our family had no idea about. We were practicing. We were Jews, but non-religious Jews. We were Jews by ethnicity and by culture, but no religion part. So I was all new to this. So my brother can't do it. I'll be glad to dress up as Santa Claus. Well, the Bear and I got held up with red tape trying to get the Cadillac to go to Florida. So by the time we got to my brother's house, and his newlywed wife didn't know me that well, but she was a appropriately mad. I mean, because I wasn't there, and he had already been dressed as Santa Claus, and he was on his way, and he better go apologize because he's mad. So the bear and I go down to the McDonald's, and we pull up into the parking lot with the new Cadillac. And there's my brother in the Santa's outfit, and he sees me, and he starts cursing to the point he really lost his shit, and he starts cursing me upside down, one side of in front of a line full of kids that are there to see Santa Claus. I'm a MF for this and a CF for that, and words that I didn't even know yet, and I've been in the Air Force and out, and was older than him. I had no idea what some of those words meant. I was so innocent at that time. But it's one of the stories in the book because I've got to pay homage and apologize to him, and he never, after all these years, accepted my apology for that in total. So, but we ended up going to Florida. We went to the baseball meetings. Both of our parents, Len's parents, mother at least, was down there. My mother was down there. All turned out well, and Evelyn got planted.
Wow.
So
story. Oh my God.
It was me with my feet up at the unveiling. It wasn't the unveiling. It was a showing or something like that. I had my feet up on the coffee table, no socks. It just is one of those days. It was very, very cold, and so I wasn't thrilled at having no socks either. I want everybody to know out there.
Let me ask now, did you get the job?
Yes, I did. 13 years of summers filled with baseball memories that will be recounted in the book, along with my memories of the Comfortably Zoned Radio Network, who I talk to, my interviews, and what have you. It's I'm not all that modest, but I think this is going to be one of the great baseball books of all time, and I can say that because I am basically, it's an as told to book. I'm the guy telling it to a
real
really
writer,
a real writer, yeah. A published writer, a guy with organizational skills, and who. So that's what assures me, because the stories are terrific. My memories of stuff. If I could remember your phone number, I could remember.
This is true.
I could remember.
All the stuff you've put out there has been really good. You know that we've seen. So very interesting for sure.
Yeah, it's I have a slant on things, and I've changed the direction I'm going. The original book was entitled Mary Jane is My Girlfriend and Baseball is My Mistress. And the narrative got lost. There's so much with baseball that the narrative of my being a 420 activist and my story with I'll still put it in there, but I have a story with Ferris Fain, who got busted after his retirement for growing pot up in Humboldt County. And I have a story about that, but mostly it'll be almost entirely baseball, and it makes it easier for me to put a narrative together for the book. So I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I found some stuff on Doubleday and Wilpon while we were just chatting here. So one thing was that it appears that Doubleday was not aware of something in the original agreement that gave Wilpon the right of first refusal on any sale of the team. That's one thing. Also, it says that Doubleday was quoted as making an anti-Semitic remark in a book called Lords of the Realm, a 1995 baseball book by John Helyar.
A very esteemed book that is looked at in baseball as...
Another thing, Wilpon wanted a new ballpark. Doubleday wanted to renovate Shea Stadium. And they took sides. Doubleday said to be a backer of Steve Phillips, and Wilpon a supporter of Bobby Valentine. Then they had a potential sale, remember that, to Charles Dolan, the head of Cablevision, was talking about buying the team for a while.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, and that obviously fell through. And so Doubleday finally initiated the split, and an option in their contract allowed Wilpon to buy his half of the team. So yeah, they had, it seems like, small disagreements, but I guess when you put them all together, Nelson just had enough and got out. Whatever it was. Yeah. I
didn't realize he was around long enough for them to be talking about a new stadium.
Well, I don't know what particular year that was, but Shea Stadium was, pretty much of a dump after a while. So,
right.
But
and it was cookie cutter. Let's face it.
Yeah.
This is so much nicer, but I'll never get used to it. I mean, Robert, you're a Dodger fan, so you could take it being a replica of of Ebbets Field a little bit more than I can. But then again, they were playing in the Polo Grounds originally, so it's a wash.
Citi Field is kind of homey, You're close
As
to the action. I was there a few times, and I thought, the sight lines were good. I thought it's a real nice, If you go to the new Yankee Stadium, it feels like you're sitting 3 miles away. Watching the way it's set up with the stands pushed all the way back,
Right.
Terrible, but Citi Field is really, really nice. It really is.
Anything on this current Met team is so mercurial, up and down. They scored 17 runs one day, 14 the next, and they lose 3 games in a row to Toronto.
No, they won the first one. They won that 18. They scored 18 runs in the DeGrom game. DeGrom must have been saying, "What?
Yeah.
You know?
He's just saying, well, everything else is either on fire or on some petri dish. So
and then the next 2 days,
we'll all be walking around on petri dishes. That's
yeah.
how the future is going to be for us all.
Yeah, the bats come up empty the next 2 games.
Yeah, to the point where totally empty.
Yeah, I think they're out of it now. You know.
Has the manager shown anything to merit an extension or whatever they do, not firing them?
If you're asking me, it's hard to say in a 60-game season. I don't think you could really judge anything because he didn't have much to work with. The pitching is horrible, and that's not his fault. You know, that's all on our buddy. You know.
Yeah. Fire Brody now.
That's the one thing we all agree on. He's got to be gone.
It's got to be. Got to be a clean house. If this sale goes through, everybody got to go.
Right.
If the manager goes, he goes. You got to start fresh, like you said, Robert. They need a baseball operations guy, and then a GM, and then everything else.
Yes.
Right, top to bottom.
Yep.
I hope that happens.
Has Cohen mentioned his participation in the baseball end of it?
No, not yet.
No, I don't think he.
He really can't.
He should have. Yeah,
he really
can't.
Legally he can't.
Oh, okay. All right. I don't know what.
Look,
how that works.
He's a long-time Mets fan. He's like us. You know, he's like 64 years old, and he's been a Met fan, I guess, his whole life. So, he's gonna. You got to think he's gonna do what needs to be done, and money is no longer an object here. This guy is a billionaire. So,
to have a franchise in New York and make money an object is really a pretty lousy capitalist.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can't make it with a New York franchise, what with the TV deals, nothing. You know, you don't have to be that great a guy at bringing in the crowds. It's all TV. That's where the money is made.
Yes.
Vis-a-vis this season, they're playing this season in front of cardboard. I still can't get over that. And if the whole idea is to build fans and to build the future, I don't see how what they're doing this year is anything but a total fuck up. And not all their fault, obviously. But we'll see. One thing I did hear is that they will have a bubble in the playoffs. Two bubbles.
Yes.
I like that idea.
Cutting down on all the traveling. Yeah.
Yeah,
I like that.
And they'll cross. The National League will play in the American League cities in Texas, and the American League will play in the National League cities in California. Is their plans right now?
Did they say where in California, or were they?
It was supposed to
go
be
to different venue.
San Diego, and I believe Dodger Stadium.
Yeah.
Well, it's got good weather places, so.
Yeah. And then it would be the National League would play in the Texas Stadium and one other place. I forget where in Texas. But like I said, the National League plays in American League cities, and the American League will play in National League cities, to make it neutral.
Interesting.
Okay, I'll ask you guys two other questions. I'll start with you, Marty. The shortstop position. You got the best prospect. You got platoon between two really good shortstops. I mean, and their best prospect is a shortstop. What do you do?
Well, I think they're already, I know we spoke about moving Rosario to center field. Now I'm hearing that that this is a good possibility. I heard it from, somebody other than us that Rosario is going to at least try out in center field. Now, I don't know how far away this prospect kid really is. I mean, the one that's in the minors, not obviously Jimenez. Jimenez is already here.
Yeah, Ronnie Mauricio.
Jimenez can play.
Yeah, Ronnie Mauricio is his name.
Yeah. So how far away is he? I mean, he probably needs. They didn't play at all, and there was no minor leagues. You would think that the kid is going to need at least a full year in AAA.
He's in Brooklyn.
Did they have workouts in Brooklyn? Did they have any sort of physical stuff?
They play games against each other every day.
Oh, okay. So they're getting some sort of, and I'm sure they've amped up the competition, given that there's no minor leagues whatsoever. I'll bet they play some serious baseball.
And we don't even know what's going to happen with the minor leagues next year.
Right.
With all this talk about, changing so much in the minors, changing teams, changing sites, Brooklyn going to AA. I mean, who knows? There's so much that's yet to be determined, not just because of the virus, but because of the way the commissioner just left it. With
it sounds like we're all assuming that next year there will be, it won't be any worse than this. If they don't get a vaccine, people aren't wearing masks, winter's coming up, this could not be a pretty picture.
This is true. All remains to be seen.
Yeah.
Can't really plan too far ahead with anything.
No. But poof, it's just going to disappear the day after Election Day.
Oh, yeah. There'll be no more.
Right.
None whatsoever. At least we don't have to worry because the president said that and everything's going to be cool.
Well, if you heard his supporters on CNN the other day, it's a fake, and the day after Election Day, it's going to disappear. It's not going to be a thing anymore.
I didn't hear that.
I'm glad to hear that, Robert.
Yeah.
Much better now.
I won't throw away the Met mask that you sent me. I'll keep it for a souvenir, Mert.
There you go.
When I go out, it's either the weed mask or the Met mask. So, and you can't wear them both at the same time unless you're a Siamese twin.
I like the way all these companies are cashing in on the masks now.
Hey, why not?
Making. Unbelievable.
Well, mask and hand sanitizer.
Oh, yeah.
You have a lot of the alcohol companies, the whiskey companies are making hand sanitizer.
There you go.
And Ralph, the president also said that if you'd get off your ass and go up there into the woods in California and start picking up those trees that knocked over, we wouldn't have these fires.
Yeah,
well,
that's right.
I'm going to just try to stand up on that. No, I'm not. I tried for a second. I didn't have the gumption to just even stand up, so I'm not going to do that. We all think not. And by the way, Mert, when you say I heard it from somebody who wasn't us, something on Rosario, don't downgrade. I will say that I've got the best two experts that are out there, and the only one that can't say that are you guys. You have one. you guys only have one, but you guys are as up as any Met podcast, anything on the internet that you hear, official MLB stuff.
Yeah, well, I finally saw it. I finally saw it mentioned, I think yesterday, by one of the Met beat writers on Twitter. So, yeah.
Yeah, we've been talking about that
for a long time. Yes,
long time.
Yeah.
So I will just say to one and all, this is as good, and I could say the same thing about the Yankee podcast on the Comfortably Zoned Radio Network with Robert Denninger and Jack DeGraw. I'll just not include myself at all. I am, and with this, in terms of what we got, in terms of knowledge and memory and all that shit. So keep it up. Let's stay doing it, and maybe next week we'll be able to talk about some positive Met stuff.
That would be nice.
It would be. And, you guys have the responsibility, as long as I'm going to go clean up in your mind's eye, going to clean up some forest someplace. Daddy, it wouldn't be me. It wouldn't be me, but I want you guys to make sure that the Dems win Florida, because I have a sneaking suspicion, and this is very serious, the winner of Florida will win the presidency.
Could very well be. Could very well be. Yeah. We're getting bombarded here. I don't know how the commercials are where you live, Ralph, because California really, is not a state that is in question which way it's going to go. But Florida, Robert, you know what I'm talking about. Every commercial break on a news show, I got the mute button in my hand. I hardly put it down. I mean, I'm talking both sides, not just the Trump ads. I'm tired of hearing this, and we still got a long way to go. I mean, every commercial break, they are spending millions and millions of dollars on Florida TV advertising. It's unbelievable.
Well, your old business associate, Marty, Mr. Blumberg, I don't know, you exchanged cards with him.
I know that.
Yeah,
he's putting some money. He's putting some much-needed money
100 million.
That's big bucks. So we may have poo-pooed this man in the debates. He said some stupid things, but
money talks.
Money talks. Sucker walks. Suckers walk.
There you go.
I responded to somebody, I said, when I didn't agree with them, I wrote Bullingower. And if she's listening, Phyllis Bullingower, she put Ralph, question mark.
Yeah.
And I just said, it's a disagreement. Bullingower.
Yeah, that's one I hadn't heard in a while.
I take you back to the old days, don't I, Bert?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Great. That's a great word, yeah.
Believe me, I live for that.
Yeah.
Love you both. Take care.
All right, have a good week.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. You are blessed. Marty Rose and Robert Cole. Adios, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
The proceeding has been a Comfortably Zoned network production. You are advised to keep your dreams wet, your humor dry, your children and grandchildren out of military recruiting offices and off the laps of clerics who wear dresses. Thank you for listening, everyone. Happy trails.